What it do, buckaroos? I'm back to complain some more. So for anybody who doesn't know me, I work in a fast food restaurant. I do not want said fast food restaurant to sue me, so for identity protection purposes, said fast food restaurant is going to be referred to as Enter and Leave. Now, I have been working at Enter and Leave for about a year and a half now, a little more than that-ish. And in my year and a half there, I have met some interesting people. And today I'm going to share the stories of those interesting people with you guys. You're welcome. Story number 1. Now, Enter and Leave was my first job. So this customer was the very first rude customer that I had ever had to deal with, and it was difficult. So this lady and her husband come up. I was the order taker, so I was like, hi, how are you? They come up, they look at the menu, they're deciding what they want, whatever. Little bit of back information. Enter and Leave has a very simple menu. All we sell is burgers. We don't sell chicken, we don't sell bacon, we don't sell fish, we don't sell anything. All we have is beef. And if that's not simple enough, our menu has 3 things on it. It has a hamburger, it has a cheeseburger, and it has a double cheeseburger. Those are your options. Number 1 is a double cheeseburger meal, number 2 is a regular cheeseburger meal, and number 3 is a hamburger meal. You would think that people would see this and go, oh, that's really simple. I couldn't mess that up, could I? Well, you'd be wrong. This lady and her husband come up, and she's like, I want 2 number 1 meals, which is the double cheeseburger meal. So I'm like, okay. So I hit the button. I'm like, would you like any onion? And she's like, yeah. And then she says, the 2 cheeseburgers, something, something, something. And I'm like, oh, you want 2 cheeseburgers? And she's like, yes. So I add 2 cheeseburgers. I'm like, would you like cheeseburger meals or just cheeseburger burgers? And she's like, I told you I want the meals. And I'm like, no you didn't, but that's fine. So I'm like, okay, 2 cheeseburger meals, 2 double cheeseburger meals. And she's like, no, just double cheeseburger meals. So I'm like, oh, you didn't want the cheeseburgers? And she's like, no. So I'm like, okay. So I take the cheeseburgers off and I'm like, okay, just 2 number 1 double cheeseburger meals. She's like, yes. I'm like, all right. And then she goes on to say something, 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 cheeseburgers. And I'm like, cheeseburgers? And she's like, yes. So I'm like, so you don't want double cheeseburgers, you want regular cheeseburgers? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, which one do you want? And she's like, the number 1, the double cheeseburgers. I'm like, okay, so you want 2 double cheeseburgers? And she's like, yes, something, 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 the cheeseburgers. And I'm like, lady, do you want a double cheeseburger or do you want a regular cheeseburger? And then homegirl got mad at me and was like, do you speak Spanish or do you speak English? And I'm like, I speak English. And she's like, okay, well I want 2 double, nah, 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 nah. And I'm like, okay, there's no need to start screaming because you don't know the difference between a regular cheeseburger and a double cheeseburger. So yeah, she got like super pissed at me and I gave her cups and she like snatched them out of my hand and walked away all angry. And then her husband, after she left, her husband looked at me and was like, and I was like, it's fine, don't worry about it. Mind you, I'm still new, so I'm still like super polite and peppy and like, oh, it's okay. Scream at me all you want to. But yeah, so basically, homegirl was trying to use double cheeseburger and cheeseburger interchangeably, even though they were 2 completely different burgers. Story number 2, again with the damn cheeseburger. So there's this little old Asian guy, or there was. He hasn't come in for a long time. He didn't come in super often, but he came in enough that all of us knew who he was and recognized him when he came in, and most importantly, knew that some shit was about to happen when he would come in and order. So he came in one day with one of his friends. He's like, 1 number 2, which is the cheeseburger meal. So I'm like, okay, cheeseburger, would you like onion? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay. He turns to his friend and he's like, 1 number 2, no cheese. And I'm like, so you want a number 3? Again, in case you forgot. Number 2, cheeseburger. Number 3, hamburger. Hamburger, no cheese, cheeseburger with cheese. So I'm like, okay, so you want a number 3? No. I want number 2. Okay, so you want cheese? No, no cheese. Okay, so you want a number 3? No. So I turned to his friend and I'm like, you tell me what you want. I want number 2. And I'm like, so you want a cheeseburger? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, but no cheese. I'm like, bruh. Okay. The number 2 is a cheeseburger, which means that it comes with cheese. The number 3 is a hamburger, which means that it doesn't have cheese. They're both exactly the same, except that one has cheese and that one does not. So you want this one, the one without cheese. No, I want that one. So you want the one with cheese. No, I don't want cheese. I shit you not. I was standing there talking to these 2 men for 15 minutes. The back and forth was so ridiculous. I don't know how many times I explained the difference between a number 2 and a number 3. I don't know how many times I told them this one has cheese, this one doesn't. I don't know how many times this man yelled at me about wanting a cheeseburger with no cheese, but it was a very long time. So finally I'm like, all right, you want 2 number 2s and you want 1 without cheese. And this guy looks me dead in my face and goes, no, I want the number 3. Story number 3. So one day I am working as the host. Basically, the host position is you kind of pretty much just have to go around and act like you work at Denny's. You go to people's tables, you ask if their food's okay, you offer to throw away trash, you offer refills, you offer ketchup, like stuff like that. You basically act like you're working in like a restaurant, not a fast food restaurant. So I'm hosting, and another one of my coworkers was my host assistant, who basically their job is to pretty much do whatever I ask them to. The host is not allowed to leave the dining room the entire time that you're hosting, because the point is to be there talking to people, talking to customers, that kind of stuff. So if you need anything refilled, if you need ketchup, if you need lemonade, if you need anything, the host assistant is the person that goes and brings it out from the back. So I'm going around to tables, trying to talk to customers, just being awkward as hell. And I went to this booth with 3 guys sitting there. And I go over and I'm like, hey, how are you guys? Can I get you any ketchup, any refills, any trash you want me to throw away? They're like, nope, we're good, thank you. I'm like, all right, if you need anything, feel free to let me know. And I continue about my business. So my coworker, my host assistant, was going and picking up some of the trays to take to the back and get washed. I went over to him to tell him that we needed something. I don't remember what it was. And then one of the guys from the table that I had just talked to turned around and came over to me and goes, hi, my name's... I don't remember what his name was. Greg. Hi, my name's Greg. I'm like, hi, I'm Faith. And I shook his hand. He was like, it's nice to meet you, Faith. I was wondering if I could get your phone number. From behind me, I heard my coworker go, I could tell he was trying not to laugh. I was trying not to laugh too, mainly because I was very uncomfortable. So I, in my nicest customer service voice, said, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend. And then this guy looks me dead in my face and goes, oh, whatever, you're fucking whack. I just stood there. I was so shook. I didn't know what to do. Some guy just screamed at me in front of the entire dining room. A couple people turned around and looked. My coworker was still behind me, also shook as fuck. So I turned to my coworker and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the back room real quick. And he's like, yeah. I walked to the back and then my coworker runs behind me and he's like, wait, Faith, has that ever happened to you before? I was like, not like that. I've had coworkers like slip me their numbers on receipts or be like, oh, you're really pretty or whatever. But I've never had somebody scream at me in the dining room because I wouldn't give them my phone number. So yeah, that was really... Number 4. This one is by far the most rude and disrespectful thing that has ever happened to me, probably in the entire year and a half that I have been working at this job. I was working in the dining room, not as host, just as a regular dining room person. I had the broom and the dustpan, was going around sweeping up fries and whatever. I go up to this table and there's a guy sitting at the table next to the table that I'm sweeping at. This man turns and looks at me with the broom, turns back, takes a napkin off of his table, wipes his mouth with it, crumples it into a little ball, and then just tosses it on the floor right in front of me. Now listen, I understand the logic behind like, oh, I want to throw this thing away and I don't want to get up and go to the trash can. Maybe I could just throw it in the dustpan. I get it. And I'm not mad about that. If he would have just told me, excuse me, miss, would it be okay if I throw this napkin in the dustpan? I would have been like, yeah, sure. Just toss it on the floor and I'll sweep it right up for you. But he didn't. He just looked at me and then wiped his gross ass mouth with this napkin and then just threw it at me. Just threw it right in front of me. Like I was a damn raccoon. Just fucking scavenging for food and he's just like, oh, here you go. Like who does that? Who does that? The audacity of this man to just throw his trash at the floor in front of my feet. Like I was just... Number 5. Now this last one isn't aimed at a specific instance or customer as much as it is just like a general whole. One of the most irritating things about my job is that we have this secret menu that's not really a secret, it's just variations of different burgers really. But a lot of people like to come in with their phones and be like, oh, I saw that you have a triple cheeseburger on the secret menu, can I get that or whatever. That's all fine, I don't mind that. I understand that these people don't know the menu like we do as workers. So they see this thing online and get curious and want to ask about it. And that's fine. I don't mind answering questions about our secret menu or just about the menu in general. What I do mind is when people argue with me about what we serve at this restaurant. Don't come in to my job where I waste 30 hours of my life every single week and tell me that you know what we have better than I do. If I tell you, no, we don't have chili cheese fries. No, we don't have bacon. No, we don't have chicken nuggets. Then listen to me. I think I know what we serve and what we don't. No, but look, the secret, it's on the secret. Look, it's online. No, look. I'm not gonna look at your stupid ass phone. I don't care what you saw on the internet. I don't care what Food Wikipedia says that we serve. If I say that we don't serve it, it's because we don't serve it. Since you and your phone know the menu so much better than I do, why don't you come around that corner and clock in and deal with people like you all day? Your phone does not spend 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, arguing with people like you about what we serve. I do. Your phone does not have the menu on a computer sitting right in front of them. I do. Your phone does not get paid minimum wage to deal with your fucking bullshit. I do. If we serve something, then I will serve it to you. If we don't, then leave it alone. Okay, I feel a little bit better now. If you guys like this video, please let me know because I have a ton of other stories. This is just this is nothing. If you or anybody that you know works or has worked in customer service or food service, then send this video to them so that they can get a laugh out of my misery. And if any of my managers is watching this, please don't fire me. I love my job. Thank you. Bye.